Well, happy Wednesday, Parkway. We've been working our way through 1 John in our series, going through 1 John, 2 John, and 3 John, those epistles. And it's had a lot to say about how we love others. And we can easily see that love has always been God's message. We know what Jesus teaches and commands us when it comes to loving and serving others, but what happens when believers let us down? How do we respond to that? Our response to being let down is just as much part of the teaching that Jesus commands us as the other person that failed at it. Colossians chapter 3, verse 13 says, "Bear with each other and forgive one another if any of you has a grievance against someone. Forgive as the Lord forgave you." One of the hardest realities of the Christian life is that sometimes we'll be hurt and sometimes we'll be disappointed or we'll be let down by other believers. We expect love and grace and encouragement from brothers and sisters in Christ, and most of the time we do receive it. But we must also remember that every believer is still a work in progress. None of us are perfect. When those moments of disappointment come, we face a choice. Will we respond with bitterness and distance, or will we respond with grace and forgiveness? Paul reminds us in Colossians 3:13 to bear with one another. That phrase carries the idea of patience and endurance and understanding. In other words, don't be quick to cut someone off when they fail. Instead, remember that you too have failed others, and yet God's grace covered you. Forgiveness is not easy, and it doesn't mean pretending that hurt never happened, but it does mean releasing the right to hold it over another person's head. Forgiving as the Lord forgave us keeps our hearts soft and our fellowship united. Imagine if Jesus had walked away from Peter after Peter denied him 3 times. Peter's failure was real and it was painful and it was most definitely public, but Jesus restored him and gave him peace and even used him to build the early church. What would have happened if Jesus had given Peter the silent treatment instead of extending forgiveness? In the same way, God often uses grace and restoration, not rejection, to bring healing and growth to His church. So I want us as a church to really think about this. I want us to be ever vigilant of any needs that we have within our church and within our community, and then be doers of the word. And when it is us who experiences other believers letting us down, well, we should pray before we react. Ask the Lord to give us wisdom and grace. We should remember our own need for forgiveness. The same mercy that you've received from Christ is the mercy that you're called to extend. Seek restoration and not revenge. Sometimes that means having a hard yet loving conversation. At other times it means quietly letting go of the offense. And then this, keep your eyes on Jesus. People may fail you, Christ never will. Listen, this is something that we as a church need to really think on and pray on and seek scriptural truth in, and then be obedient to it and just simply follow it. I hope you guys have a great week. I'm already looking forward to seeing you back this coming Sunday. Don't forget, reach out and invite somebody to come with you this week. Have a great week.